Melungeonhistory.com. What is Melungeonhistory.com? This is a site dedicated to creating a database of information for researchers of Melungeon and multiracial people of Appalachia. Most of what is here are newspaper articles and legal documents that directly relate to Melungeon history and have never been archived together. Who are the Melungeons? Being Melungeon means different things to different people. For a long time, being Melungeon simply meant being a part of the triracial families occupying Newman Ridge in Hancock County, Tennessee, and that is certainly one answer. Research has shown the word Melungeon has been used as a derogatory term for ambiguously mixed-race people across the Appalachians since the middle of the 19th century. Melungeons are found in western Virginia, eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, Kentucky, southeastern Ohio, and West Virginia. For the purposes of this site, we will use a very broad definition of Melungeon. A Melungeon is any triracial, multiracial person who lived within an endogamous community in the mountain areas of southern Appalachia, or any descendant of those triracial people who came from those endogamous communities. This definition does encompass several groups with distinctive names other than Melungeon who had their own communities. There does, however, seem to be a common origin for many of these diverse groups in the tidewaters of colonial Virginia. Many of these groups seem to have had members that floated between the communities which linked them together. DNA evidence also seems to tie members across these groups. Why use the word Melungeon? If the word Melungeon was used as a slur against mixed-race people in Appalachia, why use it at all? The word is used because the descendants of these mixed-race people have embraced it. To most Melungeons, it is a mark of pride, and the word no longer means anything to outsiders. Most people have never heard of a Melungeon. How can one utilize the site? Once you reach the site, you will see a link to primary documents. When you click on this link, it will take you to a visual database organized by year. Simply click on the year and the site will open up all the documents for that period. The site is growing, and newspaper articles are being added each week from my personal research. Some historic legal documents pertaining to Melungeons are also available on the site. Be warned, many of the newspaper articles written between the 1840s and the 1870s use extremely derogatory language when writing about Melungeons. After the 1870s, the word Melungeon seems to have gone out of regular use, and by the 1890s to 1920s, the word is rediscovered as a description of what the people writing these articles believe is a lost race of people. The lost race narrative is obviously incorrect. These are largely people whose ancestors came out of Virginia and settled in the mountains because of prejudice surrounding their mixed race heritage. The lost race narrative was presented probably by the Melungeons themselves as a means of protecting what rights they had within the greater community around them. Why is this research important? There may be more than 100,000 people of Melungeon heritage living in the Appalachian Mountains today. Many multiracial people left the mountains during the Great Depression and the middle of the 20th century to look for work, or simply change their racial classifications. Over time, most Melungeons who have been classed as mulatto have mainstreamed into white society. There are probably thousands of people in and outside of the Appalachians who are descendants of these people and don't know it. My hope is this site becomes a resource for people newly discovering their heritage and for researchers realizing that this large group of virtually unknown Americans have had a massive impact on our culture. Please visit Melungeonhistory.com. You might find yourself amazed by the storied history of the Melungeons as chronicled in our nation's newspapers.